Greetings, everybody. Today I will review The Devil's Rejects, starring Sid Haig, Sherry Moon Zombie, Bill Moseley, William Forsythe, and Jeffrey Lewis, along with Kim Faree and Michael Berryman. And, if I already mentioned, William Forsythe as Sheriff John Quincy Waddell. This has got to be one of the most epic sequels, and I'm talking about one. And a lot of sequels aren't hardly ever on par or better than the original, but Devil's Rejects will be on par with House of a Thousand. I mean, starts off with with the house being raided and by the Rugsville Sheriff's Department, led of course by Sheriff Waddell, which of course John Quincy Waddell took this one personally, cause after Mother Firefly in the first movie kills his brother George in House of a Thousand. Sorry for the spoiler for those who hadn't seen this one watching this video, but it is a sequel, and of course it's centered around all the full parts. The movie centered around how they on the run from the law, and of course trying to set up shop, then while continuing mass murder along the way. I mean, the house being filled with victims, bodies, and even half dead cheerleaders, and of course Tiny, which of course was Matthew McQuarrie's last movie, R.I.P. In his final role as Tiny, or final movie, and excellent. I mean, just how it just starts off with one big shootout where they're having makeshift armor suits and all, and then boom, RJ there goes RJ, and got like another difference is how in this movie, compared to the first one of the franchise, had different actresses playing Mother Firefly. Like in the House of Thousand was Karen Black, and in the Devil's Rejects was Leslie Easterbrook. And then, and of course, with Rob Zombie, you gotta have the lit soundtrack. I mean, it just starts off after the shootout and the arrest of Mother Firefly, and they get Allman Brothers' Midnight Rider. Right before they kill that nurse on the escape, then they go to then then you get that, then they pan that hilarious weird sex scene of Captain Spaulding when he's dreaming about the hooker, and I'm just like, and he's just like trying to make jokes, and the dream girl goes, "Did you just call me a hoe?" Then he wakes up to the Fat Trailer Park Skank with Shambhala playing in the background, and then he's like, "Hush, hush, hush! My commercial's about to start." And he's like, and he gets all that commercial and all, a hilarious commercial, but for this gas station and all. And then of course breaks into the news, and in which, oh god, twist from the first movie when he find out that Captain Spaulding is the father of both Otis and Baby. And then of course they go to then of course they get Captain Spaulding trying to drive off in that, and then he got that excellent scene of Captain Spaulding driving off in that red Ford, and then he goes to that gas station, taunts tells that mother and her kid talking about, I'm gonna have to take your car today with your top secret clown business. And he taunts the kid with, "What, kid? You don't like clowns? Don't we make you laugh?" Talk about some horror comedy gold. I'll tell you that. I'd say that much. And then of course he got the hotel, and then with Banjo and Sullivan, which just unfamous, odd for this, for not for none of their for them being a fictional band, and yet they have a song in the soundtrack, but the album soundtrack, not the end movie soundtrack. I'm talking about the sound, the CD soundtrack to the movie. Yet they didn't put that song in the original. Kind of like a odd flaw about how they had to have a Dr. Satan mentioned once in a deleted scene, which you see in the deleted theater, which of course was was when Rosario Dawson's cameo had a cameo in it, and that was like a major flaw because that could have been like a for the edited as a deleted scene, although in the DVD it did have some funny scenes, like ones where he's like at you know at Charlie's house, and he's like whorehouse, and and Otis says Hooker, drink this, you'll put hair in your pussy. Man, Kim Furry, you gotta make an excellent portrayal as Wolf J. Flywheel, because that's the first time I actually noticed about Kim Furry being a horror movie icon. Because prior to that, I always just known him as the dad from King of the Hill. I mean Keenan and Kel. I don't know why I said King of the Hill for some reason. But overall, excellent portrayal. And another funny scene when he's talking about when they're buying chicken, and old bootleg Larry the Cable Guy looking hillbilly talks about, like, you ain't gotta screw these chickens now, are you? An excellent portrayal of Jeffrey Lewis as one of the guys from Banjo and Sullivan. That's when they're them and their wives were getting tortured by Otis and Baby, and then Otis's famous lines like, "Boy, the next words out of your mouth better be some brilliant Mark Train shit, or it's giving chills on Tombstone," or talking about some epic quotes out of film, alongside Sherry Muzambi, of course, strutting her ass. Man, and then you get that scene where they're taking him out at that little where Otis had some guns buried and all, and they're just like, and then he just taunts them by quoting that Manson guy, one of those Manson family members, talking about "I'm the devil and I'm here to do the devil's work." Right before he kills kills both of them, and then of course, he had that one where he's killed, where Baby kills one of the Warhouse playing, who was played by Priscilla Barnes of Three's Company's fame, and also played Della in Lauder in License to Kill. And of course, you gotta mention that soundtrack. You got Allman Brothers, starts off with Allman Brothers, ends with Freebird, the Skynyrd. Then you got Reeling in the Years. And of course, Buck Owens is "Satan's Gotta Get Along Without Me," which of course you get a video of it. That and the DVD features from the Wilburn Brothers show. It's Buck's performance on the Wilburn Brothers show. And kind of like a DVD feature was where they had like the actual shows, like the Morris Green show, where it's talking about that psychologist trying to analyze them, and then of course you got to have the excellent portrayals of Danny Trejo and Diamond Dallas Page as the bounty hunters. Rondo, and I can't remember who the other guy is right now. But one other flaw I have to say was how Wydell died at next to the end after he kills Charlie. But back to Ken Foree portrayal. I mean, that was like one of the funniest, especially at the beginning where he's going wongs, hong hong hongs, and then of course he got E.G. Daily as his bottom bitch. And I mean, where she's talking about, y'all them losers want to screw Princess Leia, right? And I mean, like, portrayal from the actress being best known as being Dottie from Pee Wee's Big Adventure to the voice of Tommy Pickles and Rugrats. But overall, Devil's Reject at least gets a 5. Still gets a 5 out of 5 because actually definitely 5 out of 5 because the soundtrack makes up for some of the flaws and potholes, and then of course you get when they get that see when Rydell and Rondo, another guy, finally catch up with Captain Spaulding, Baby, and Otis, and then they take him back to the house to the house and the House of Thousand Corpses, and then he talks about how his granddaddy rode with Tom Horn. And he's like, we've always been double slayers. I say one of the best performance by William Forsythe I could actually say. He actually played an excellent sheriff, and surprised that it kind of like an odd flaw was I already mentioned was how he winds up get his neck broke by Tiny at the end before Tiny goes into the house, which could have been that's as far as I'm going to go for whenever I review Free from Hell, because that's kind of what would have made that better is if Wydell stayed on and then had like a round two of it. That's as far as I'm going to go before go. But overall, Devil's Rejects gets a 5 out of 5. I mean, it's got an excellent cast, an excellent soundtrack, and I mean, come on, that ending in Kingsman always makes me is one of the two movie scenes I always think of whenever I hear Freebird on the radio. I mean, just when you think they're dead, when you at the end when you think the Fireflies die in that shootout, but only like up until like 2019 when you got to get free from hell, but you think they're dead, but overall, excellent movie. A must recommend for anybody who likes horror or just film fans of good 70s music. Even some 50s and 60s in there too, with with that I Can't Quit Your Baby song, and of course Buck Owens is Satan's Gotta Get Along Without Me. Talking about an epic horror masterpiece, The Devil's Rejects is. I mean, practically on par with the first with House of 1000, and of course, two of the best Rob Zombie horror films ever, in general. All right, people. Hope you enjoyed the video. Give a like, subscribe. Let me know what you want me to review in the comments. Enjoy.